some people don't even know that Jamaica exists. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They came to hear that thing. What you talking about?
Right,
you know
right.
Exactly. You know what I mean? What you talking about? So,
well, this podcast is all about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about your new record as well, if that's cool.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Awesome.
Is this do we smoke on this?
If you want, I don't care.
Okay, my guy. All right.
Like I said, it's all about you. It's not about me. However you feel most comfortable, man.
Definitely feel most comfortable with a split between my lips.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. Well, why don't you tell me, were you born and raised in Jamaica?
Yeah, so I was born in a place in the parish of St. James, where we have a maroon town there. I don't know if you know about the history of the Maroons. So the Maroons were after the Middle Passage, when slavery was still a thing. These were a set of individuals who basically took to the hills, knowing that whoever was coming from wherever wouldn't be able to operate in the hills, wouldn't be able to catch them in the hills, wouldn't be able to survive in the hills. So they labeled us as Maroons, people who literally run away. They call them runaway slaves, but you know what I mean? So that's my history, and I guess a big part of my rebellious nature.
So did you grow up then in St. James Parish?
Yeah, grew up in St. James until I was about 7 or 8 years old. And then I moved to Kingston, which is the capital of Jamaica, you know?
Okay. What took you guys to Kingston? Work? Like your parents' job or something?
Yeah. So my dad got a new job, right? And my dad had moved to Kingston a year earlier. And my mom and my other brother, we packed up and went to Kingston. And then, as you know, the funny story about life, when we got to Kingston, they got divorced.
So
it was like, what was the whole point? What was the point, guys? You know, but as you grow older too, you learn that, you know, I mean, relationships are a very fickle thing, and people are people, you know, and when you're young, you only know them as parents, but then when you get older, you realize, no, that's Heather and that's Leo, two separate individual people who have to find common ground, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, when did you get into music? Were you into music when you were still in St. James Parish?
Yeah, well, how I really got into music, my grandmother was the choir director for a Baptist church.
Oh,
so,
cool.
So when I was younger, and my mom was actually on the choir. So I would go to choir practice and choir rehearsals on the Thursday. And I'd be super confident in the church on Sunday, you know what I mean? Because I knew all the songs word for word. And if I'm being honest, that was my first real reckoning in terms of a relationship with music, you know what I mean? I remember just feeling a type of way, you know what I mean? I remember hearing certain notes and like goosebumps crawling over my skin, you know what I mean? And to this day, I still, I lost my mom 3 years ago, but there's times that I do lean on certain songs that she used to play, you know what I mean? Just to bring back the vibrations. And you realize that there's a mastery in selflessness, you know? There's a mastery in selflessness, and I think that's why gospel music or praise music is so high, because it's such a selfless thing. It's literally giving to some other being. So where the root of that music is a complete different thing, you know? So don't worry about who them I talk about, you know, just feel the feelings.
I love that. I've never heard anyone put it that way before. Gospel music is you're not taking, you're giving. I love that.
Yeah, man, is a selflessness that I definitely enjoyed that experience, and lean on them thing there every now and then, or every so often. So yeah, that was my first experience. But then if I'm being very honest, when I got to Kingston, 1997, I think, or 1998, my best friend, like literally the person who, as soon as I got to school, we kicked it off and we just started vibing together. And this was when I was in grade 4, eh? Bamba Tamale, who is also an incredible artist. He's
Oh wow. Yeah,
Ziggy Marley's first
son.
son. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Bambata was incredible. I mean, he's incredible as an artist now, but at that time, it was literally my only friend because I just moved to Kingston, eh?
Uh-huh.
So me and him connected, and I would go over to his house like daily and on the weekends, and my mom would come to pick me up, and his mom would be like, no, just leave him. He's good. Come back on Sunday.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
so we literally spent days upon days together, and that was a heavily influential part of my life. You know what I mean? Looking back now, I like to tell people that a lot of times we are the authors. Yes, we are the authors, but a lot of times we really are just witnessing our books. You know, we are reading as we go along, and the chapters reveal more, you know, and sometimes chapter 7 validates chapter 2,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you realize why the creator did put me together with Daniel. You know, like I said to people, I was in Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers rehearsals for hours. I was in the studio with Ziggy and Uncle Steve and Uncle Damien for hours. You know what I mean? I remember seeing Lauren Hill down by Hope Road when she was recording her. I mean, now that I've gotten older, I realized that, oh snap, she was recording Miseducation. But at that time, we were just playing football, and it's like, hey, can you pass the ball? You know what I mean?
Sure.
But
Wow.
but these are experiences that I've learned that have been integral in my perspective and from an almost psychological standpoint too. You know what I mean? So I forever honor Ziggy Marley and Stephen Marley as definitely big impact makers in my life in terms of knowing myself, knowing Rasta, knowing the consciousness, knowing the power that comes with this consciousness, knowing the duty and the responsibility as a Rasta man in the earth, understanding that it's not just about feeling like you're higher, it's about operating in a higher way. You know what I mean? And to this day, I still keep track on Uncle Ziggy. Because Ziggy Marley to me is one of the most right people in life, if that's a good way to put it, you know. And it's definitely somebody that I study, and I have been able to learn a lot from, whether loud or quiet, you know what I mean? But these are experiences that I'm super grateful, and as messy as time progresses, you realize how important those key meetings have been, you know what I mean, and thing. So
Do you feel like being around, like, just being around that atmosphere, you know, being in the studio and being around, you know, Ziggy and him working and Stephen, you know, like just that whole atmosphere, is that what really made an impact on you wanting to become a musician?
No, I mean, I think it was just a natural inclination. I like to believe so the creator knows us by our name, you know. I think my creator knows every strand hair on my head. You know, I've never seen a mango tree in Alaska. And that's not because Alaska ain't another place in the world. It's just, I think the creator places us in places that we can grow and we can flourish. So I feel like that was just, for lack of a better term, a watering of my roots before I even knew what my truth was. You know what I mean? It's like, can you believe that even the smallest of a grape seed is the potential for a whole vineyard? You know, so if you water it right, then you'll see what is supposed to come out of it, you know?
Yeah.
So I'll say that them definitely had a huge impact. Funnily enough, my Uncle Steve is literally one of the people who said to me, hey, listen, like when I was older now, it's like, listen now, your parents might be upset, your friends might be confused, you yourself might not know where you're going, but you have something, you're blessed in a way that other people pray for every single day. Use your blessing, use your resource, and know your cause and know your calling. And that was something that literally made me say, all right, yeah, why am I even going to school? Stephen Marley just said, do it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and that was definitely a thing that I'll never forget. I think that was like 2009, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because Daniel and I, we used to create music. We used to make music in the living room. We used to do our thing on Reasons and build our little beats on Fruity Loop and record ourselves, you know what I mean, 14, 15, 16, as well as one of my brothers, Kurt White also. You know what I mean? We just used to vibe and make our idea of music, and then they heard and they approved, you know what I mean? And that definitely helped to strengthen me in terms of courage and confidence to take on the world, you know?
Yeah, to be validated
Yeah.
by somebody like that to tell you,
Right,
like,
you know what I
yeah,
mean, who is literally the highest, you know what I mean? To me, Stephen
sure.
Marley is probably the greatest reggae producer of all time, you know what I mean? And that's my opinion, but hey, you can't take it from me.
I was gonna say a lot. I don't think you're the only one that has that opinion.
Right?
Wow. Okay, so you're starting to, produce and make music 15, 16 years old. When did you start to pursue it as, like a solo project? Were you in bands and stuff after that, or?
No, well, as I said, like after those conversations, you know what I mean, there was a little grooming process happening, and I came back to Jamaica because this was actually in Miami. So I was in Miami for like 6 months,
Oh, okay.
and then I came back to Jamaica and actually reconnected with an old friend of mine called Remus. Remus is Fatis Burrell's son. Now, Fatis Burrell, for anybody who knows reggae, Fatis Burrell is Exterminator Records. So Fatis Burrell gave you Sizzla Kalonji, he gave you Luciano, he gave you Pinchers, he has produced some incredible Beres Hammonds and many other songs in the conscious world. Is definitely a stalwart where that is concerned. So he connected one day, you know what I mean? He heard me in the studio and he connected and he was like, yo, I really think you got something, man. And he had been turned off from music for a while, so he had kind of stopped, you know what I mean, being so active in the music scene. And I was able to reignite a fire in him, you know what I mean? And he passed a year after that, right?
Oh, wow.
So I literally got the opportunity to make him fall back in love with music before he passed, and got him active again because he done great things, but you know how music is, so sometimes people really get turned off from the biz, you know what I mean? And I was glad that I could rekindle him love for music before him passed, and he definitely was somebody who taught me a bit more about consciousness and understanding the power that comes with this sword, which is your tongue. It's like he gave me the first copy of Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. So if you understand what I'm saying, he helped to direct my train of thought in a way. Yeah, we used to sit down and listen to records and records. You know what I mean? Like Sly and the Family Stone. You know what I mean? Like we ain't talking about no early stuff. You know what I mean? So that was a big, 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 big part of my journey too. And then after he passed, we kind of just have to take up the baton, understand the importance of the role that I am to play, because I'm a firm believer in this world being calculated chaos. So it may seem as if I am striving and I'm trying and I'm but I am what I'm supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And I already am that. And the greatness comes not in being busy and trying to, the greatness comes in acknowledging and accepting. And once you accept that, I think a different glow come with you or comes to you. And I definitely felt that. Because remember, there's people who are wondering how you're going to eat, what you're going to do, how you're going to survive, how you're going to do it. Because remember in Jamaica, we are dealing with 3 million people. In the States, you guys probably have a half a billion people.
Yeah, I was going to say quite a bit.
Like I always say to people in Jamaica, for me to make $1 million, it would be more sensible for me to sell 100,000 people something for $100. You understand? Where
Yeah.
in the States, I could sell 1 million people some for $1. I could sell
Right.
2 million people some for 50 cents. See what I say? And still get to the target. So these are the questions that people obviously have naturally, like, how are you gonna live? How are you gonna survive? But you have to have a different level of faith. You have to have a different level of trust. Musicians, I think, are some of the most faithful people in the world, because you literally get up every day making stuff that you don't know what the potential of it is really, or you don't know if it's gonna break, but you still give your all. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You don't know
Every
if there's
single
going to be
day
a payoff for it.
yeah, you have no idea, but you still give it your all. You write with your all. You sing with your all. You sing notes that people don't even hear sometimes. You know what I mean? You do things that nobody even notices, but it makes you feel fulfilled. And this is being done without anybody saying, okay, once you sing this song, I'm gonna give you $1 million, or
Right.
it's like you literally get up every day and trust this and trust your heart, you know what I mean, to lead you in the right way. And those were invaluable lessons that I had to learn, which is why to this day I don't really follow the crowd. I make music that feel good, and I make music that resonates. And if it resonates with you, great. But I'm not gonna try to make something for you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to make what I think you like, because sometimes you don't even know what you like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's important for maintain that level of authenticity and identifiableness in your product, which is something that I've literally been working on and still continue to work on to this day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I don't knock anybody, but like we have to learn, and we have to adapt, and we have to adjust. So I understand the concerns of the people before, which is why we are doing what we're doing now, and we're trying to develop this whole industry down here, and we're trying to develop the players in the industry, and we're trying to validate more positions in the industry, to literally set up the space, because I feel like the Lakers didn't know who was going to be their star, but they still set up the structure. Once you set the structure up, then we'll find who need to be the star. And we'll move from Will to Kareem to Kobe to Shaq to all these stars that we have as stars, but give thanks that there was a structure for them to be a star in.
I love that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that makes so much sense.
Right. So, yeah, man, it's important. It's a rough battle, but we're fighting the fight, my brother.
Yeah. Well, so in 2017, that's when you put out your first record, your first solo record, right?
Yeah, the first record, Lily of the Valley, distributed by Easy Star. We got a whole lot of love on that project. We actually did 7 weeks at #1 on the reggae charts.
Wow.
And we got a whole lot of love from that body of work. For the time frame that we were in, for me, and how my mindset was, where the music was concerned, it was definitely a very rewarding project to get off your shoulders. Did what it was supposed to do, as well as gave me the opportunity to tour America and tour some other places with a product that I had never really done to an extensive. I've been touring the States, and I've done incredible gigs, from Afropunk to touring with Lauryn Hill to
Wow.
I've done, but being on the road with my album was such a rewarding feeling, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing the reality of where you come from. And not a lot of people make it out of Jamaica. Not a lot, you know?
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, real quick on the Lauryn Hill thing, did you tour with her on your own record, or did you tour with her as
Yeah, we tour on our own record. It was actually Gary, who's still a good friend of mine, Gary Clark.
Gary Clark
Jr.
Jr.?
Yeah, good
Oh,
friend of
wow.
mine. Yes, it was Gary Clark. It was another girl from Chicago called No Name, who is a dope rapper. No Name Gypsy, I think her name is. Talib was on for a couple of shows, Talib Kweli.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that was the rundown. But yeah,
Damn.
it was definitely dope for me, because there was nobody there who really came to see reggae. So converting those people every night was such a joy for me. You know
That's
what I mean? And it
amazing.
definitely helped me prove myself to myself. Like, it's easy to sing to the choir. That's easy.
Sure.
You know what I mean? No singing for people who have no idea. Some people don't even know that Jamaica exists. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They came to hear that thing. What you talking about?
Right, right.
Exactly. You know what I mean? What you talking about? So it was good for me to convert a lot of those individuals, and even Miss Hill after, you know what I mean, to see how she reacted to, you know what I mean, having that level of spirituality on the road with her too is good, you know?
Mm-hmm. I was gonna ask you if she probably remembered you as a kid, right? And then you're like, hey,
no,
remember when you were in the studio?
Hey,
I was the kid kicking a soccer ball.
I would be lying. I would be lying if I said she remembered me as a kid, because there was so much happening, you know what I mean? And I mean, I can only imagine as an artist, like, she's focused on what she was doing. So unless I said, which I didn't say, unless I said to her, yo, you know what I mean, then she would not have known. I mean, she probably figures, because I think she knows the relationship between me and the Marley family. So it's like, she probably didn't know. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, she's Lauryn Hill. She got so much on her mind for me to be like, hey, Miss Hill, do you remember like 10 years ago? No.
Yeah, but you know, a little bit of cool little, she would have probably got a kick out of that, I'm sure. Like, oh wow, yeah. Like you went from, you know, kicking the soccer ball around the studio to now you're opening up for me on this major tour.
Yeah, but you know, you have to catch Miss Hill on the right day, you know. Catch her on the right day.
That's funny. Okay, so you said that you obviously got a lot of love for that 2017 record. Spent a lot of time at #1, and so where does this new record come in the timeline, as far as like, where were you working on this album when like the coronavirus hit? Like, where were you at? Were you on the road when that happened?
All right, so we had just finished a tour in Europe. We had just finished like 4 weeks in Europe, and got back to Jamaica. Then we headed out to LA. We were in Fairfax doing some recording and just linking up with some people, and just getting some music flowing. A couple of the songs started coming to light, you know what I mean? A couple of ideas that we were confident in. And then I was supposed to, I had a tour lined up. We had a 2-month tour lined up, and like everybody else, you were holding on tight. I was like, those deposits are not going back, you know. but it ended up being what it was, you know what I mean? And we had to send back everything, and we canceled 2 tours actually.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we canceled 2 tours, and we had to end up pushing back the whole release of the album, because I mean, it was a very unsure time. You know what I mean? Like, nobody knew, like, what was the next move? How do you make the next move? How do you promote in this time? How do you operate in this time? You know what I mean? And that was definitely something that was kind of troubling to me. But then as time progressed, you realize that like, I like to say that the creator's timing is perfect. You know what I mean? Like, if, you know, I think we would have put more than 24 hours in a day. You know, I think we wouldn't have gotten the sunset and the sunrise as right as him. You know, so his timing is always perfect. So even with this project, I like to say, okay, my timing that I was working with seems to be a bit off, but the creator's timing is never off. You know what I mean? So if I trust that, then it will be what it's supposed to be, and this is exactly what's happening. You know what I mean? A couple other songs came during that time period that I don't know, if I was not touring, I would have been able to connect with some of these individuals. And there was a lot of Zoom calls, and there was a lot of phone calls and FaceTime calls and FaceTime writing sessions and FaceTime mixing sessions. And we had to adjust, but I feel like that's a part of being human, you know. A part of being human is the ability to adjust, you know, and manipulate circumstances versus being manipulated by circumstances. You know what I mean? And we went head on, you know what I mean? Give thanks to Easy Star, you know what I mean? A great set of individuals, super transparent, who have a dope relationship with business wise and off the track, you know what I mean? And we came together and we were like, yo, let's fire this shot. You know what I mean? We started hearing the songs, and the feedback that we were getting from people were like, okay, well, y'all really like these songs. You know what I mean? So we made the decision to go ahead and fire. And hey, look what's happening. The world is opening.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say, the creator's timing is always perfect, Like even the wisest of men is still a fool in our creator's eyes, I don't know if we would understand why you need a gallbladder. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we would ever think about fingernails. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And these are the same. Of course, we would have been like, yes, we need a heart to pump the blood. We need da 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 da. But then there's some little fine details, like the yellows are so yellow out there in the world. The greens are so green, the blues are so blue. You know what I mean? And even us as human beings, our idea of comfort has literally just been trying to mimic what the world has already offered.
Mm-hmm.
You study the plane and you get a bird. You study the tree and you get a roof. So it's like, you know what I mean? I still try to maintain that oneness and understand that everything is already here. And if you look close enough, you'll see. And if you listen deep enough, you'll hear.
I love your outlook, man. It's so like, just like, yeah. I mean, just it's so positive. Just thinking like, yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. So we're just gonna strap in and the fact that you saw this whole, pandemic and you're like, well, I wouldn't have maybe got a couple more of these songs that made the record if it wasn't for this.
Yeah, it's like sometimes we have this habit of when things are good is God and when things are bad is evil.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to kind of break. Because listen, man, I'm going to tell you a secret. All these things are just words. Okay, my friend? So if you spell good and you take out one of those O's, you got God. And if you add a D to evil, you got the devil. So they're all just words, okay? Yeah, but we like the who makes the beautiful snowflakes fall still made that volcano. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
that's a
not
great point.
Yeah, it's not like, okay, yeah, the good things that no, it's like everything good, everything have its purpose. I mean, for us, I mean, it may be inconvenient at times, but we are still only a part of a bigger system. The universe is a big system. I mean, it isn't our system. We are a part of this system, So yeah, with all of that, we did get the album ready and ready for fire. And to be honest, the Corona did make we do a lot more inward, like a lot more retrospection. Like a lot of these songs have me talking to myself in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
And being honest with myself. Like there's a song on this project called When Daddy's Not Home. And that was a very honest song to me, probably one of the most honest songs I've written. A lot of musicians and artists and a lot of people sometimes, so they know Jesse Royal, and Jesse Royal, but then I have daughters who only know daddy,
Mm-hmm.
And when you go tour, they aren't saying, oh, daddy's out there making sure we've got food on the table. They're just like, no, daddy's not home.
He's not home, right?
Daddy's just not home. And we have to respect their perspective and we have to validate their conversations by entertaining their ideas and sifting through it. And that was something that I had to do. And then I learned that I had to explain. Like I can't just expect her to understand. Like I have to explain that I'm doing life without a trial. That's the cost of being inspired. Followed the smoke and got fired because my dreams wouldn't accept denial. Pouring my thoughts into your heart. I wish I could get back the time we lost. I'd pay the price no matter the cost. You will never know the half. When me and there beside of you, may I risk my life for you. You know what I mean? So it's like literally just trying to explain so that she also can see where daddy's coming from, and the day will come where they too will have a family and they'll understand, okay, yo, daddy really had to sacrifice, what I mean, to provide us with a certain life.
I love that. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, so the record is coming out what, next month?
Yeah, the record is gonna be out June 11th.
Okay.
I'm super excited for really just share this body of work with the world. You know what I mean? We've taken a lot of time to refine the thing them, and there's songs that are different, you know what I mean? There's songs where I'm talking about Romeo and Juliet. You know what I mean? Like there's songs where I say, yo, not even holy water can clean your dirty money, you know, like it's completely different concepts. But as I said, we're definitely super excited for share this with the world on June 11th. And we're actually doing like a live show on June 12th down in Wynwood in Miami. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And provide
like to an actual audience.
Yeah, to actual audience. The funny thing is, like, we dropped some early bird tickets like a couple days ago, and all of those are gone now. So we're like trying to figure out how do we like readjust, you know, because I really want to share it with people, you know, and I want people to be able to feel it from my perspective and see through my lens and hear it through my voice, not just over them platform, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I mean, that's amazing that you're able to play a show, especially to celebrate the record. I mean, that's huge. And stuff's starting to open up a little bit, and you know, maybe we'll be able to see
I was gonna
tour.
find a way, bro. I was gonna find a way. If I had to go to Japan, I would have been in Tokyo with this shit. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Jesse, for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. And I love the whole minimalist approach in that room.
Oh, thank you. It's mainly because we just moved from San Diego to Nashville. And so
Nashville.
We just moved here about 2 months ago. So hadn't had a chance to really unpack, but we love it here. It's different. Yeah, definitely different pace of living.
Yeah, a good friend of mine lives in Nashville. I have a couple of friends in Nashville. Yeah.
Well, when you're here next time, come. The door's open for you, man. We'd love to have you over.
Definitely, man. Much love, and I wish you nothing but continued success, health, wealth, blessings, and prosperity, my bro.
I appreciate it. You too, man. I have one more question though before I let you go. Is that cool?
No problem.
Do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
My advice to aspiring artists would be keep on working on you. You know what I mean? There's all these people in the world, but there'll never be another you. And I think when you understand that, you embrace a different light and you have a different glow that I don't care how long it takes, but they're going to find you and they're going to see it and they're going to recognize it because I've never seen this before. So I like to tell people, say, yo, just maintain your authenticity because there is something special about you that nobody else has. Even if it's the whistle. Know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we look for the greatest things, but let's maintain your authenticity, know what works for you and work on that. You know what I mean? Know what works for you and work on that. And then work on the things that you know you're weak into. Work on those things is like, you know what I mean? I mean, there's a man like Shaquille O'Neal who just couldn't do anything. He just can't shoot free throws. I understand that. But you know what I mean? As an artist, we have the ability to read, learn, study, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, just for lack of a better term, feel yourself, you know what I mean? And know that you special, bro. And there's a vibes that you going to offer to the world and nobody else can offer but you. You know what I mean? So that would be my only advice, that just maintain your authenticity and maintain the mindset of that there's something special in you, you know what I mean? And just keep watering your roots, yo. Bring it back,